You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Big Guy Sports Radio Show. Your home for New York sports.
How we doing, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Big Guy Sports Radio. We are coming to you live on Facebook and also streaming through the Worldwide Sports Radio Network as we start our first day teaming up with them here on June 22nd, 2020. I am your host, Jim, along with my co-host, Mac. How are you doing today, Mac?
I'm doing real good. I'm kind of stoked for today's show. It's a little hot and humid up here where I'm from, sweating a little bit, but I just turned the air on, so I'm cooling down and getting ready to rock.
I am in the same boat. I am sweating over here, and I have the central air set, and for some reason the central air is not kicking on that much. It's telling me it's cooler in the house than I think I really is. So I don't know what's telling the truth here. So.
Oh my God, man! So are you a specialist at central air? Do you have to call somebody in to check it out for you?
No. It's working. It just telling I'm a big guy, hence the name. So I mean, maybe it's just one of those things where it's not working. It's not as warm as I think it is today. I think I think that is where the problem is. So, but here we are nonetheless, ready to go with another show. And we just want to give a shout out again to all our people listening in on the streaming, all the Worldwide Sports Radio Network people who are new to hearing us, and to our regulars who are already checking in. Good morning. Good evening, actually, to Justin, who's checking in. Good evening to Mike Stone. Mike, I haven't seen Mike on the show checking in before, but I know Mike. Actually, we used to work together. So,
yeah. Did you pay him to do that? I mean,
no, he's a big wrestling fan, and I think he's here because we're going to open up with some wrestling stuff.
Yes, sir.
So, if you're a fan of wrestling and you don't live under a rock, it would be impossible for you not to know who The Undertaker is, who arguably, if most people sit down and go over a list of the top wrestlers of all time, and you could put them in any order you want, typically you're looking Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, somewhere in that order. So if you've watched the WWE Network, about 6 weeks ago, they started doing a 5-part documentary called The Last Ride, which was a big deal for people who follow wrestling, because anyone who follows wrestling knows The Undertaker is usually very private. He's never been on record doing interviews. I think the first interview he did that was a lengthy interview was when he sat down with Stone Cold Steve Austin for an episode of The Broken Skulls, was the first time. He's had a 30-year career. He never left the WWE/WWF, which is a big deal, because a lot of people at times jumped over to other networks. He's always been loyal. He's always been a hard worker, and he's probably one of the most respected people in the business. And if you watched the 5 episodes, like they're putting on one a week. Last week was the last episode, last night actually. And the last episode, basically at the end, he pretty much announced he was retiring. Now, he signed a 15-year Legends contract with the WWE, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to wrestle. You know what I mean? So to see a legend call it quits, Mac, to be honest with you, I teared up a little watching the end of it, because I grew up. I remember his debut, and you get attached to these guys. Now, I can't sit here and tell you that over a 30-year period that I watched it straight through when he started, 25, 30 years, whatever it was. That's not true. There have been times when I have taken a break from watching wrestling, but you always go back. And I know you're a more old school guy with, you're going to throw some names out there that we'll all know, but it's a little older. But it doesn't get any better when it comes to respect level as The Undertaker.
Yeah. I'm surprised you left out Hulk Hogan as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, too. He should be up in that list. Yeah, I mean, I am really old school when it comes to wrestling. I watch it every now and then. I used to follow it a lot more in my earlier days. I mean, back when we had, the Ultimate Warrior and the Junkyard Dogs and Haystacks Calhoun and stuff like that. A lot of old school wrestling. Yeah, yes, sir. I mean, you've probably heard the names if you haven't watched them. But I have watched The Undertaker, and he has one of the best shticks, entertainment of any wrestler I ever saw, with the coffin and not being able to, knock him out or kill this man. He always comes back from the dead. So, I mean, I enjoyed watching him when he was wrestling for the title, or when he were in those all for one contests where a bunch of wrestlers and they're throwing him out of the ring. So I have watched him, and even Andre the Giant you can throw in there too, as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But The Undertaker has one of the best entertainment values that I've seen in wrestling.
Well, that's why I didn't mention. I have all the respect for Hulk Hogan, just because of the fact that when the WWE first came, started to grow. You go back to the first WrestleMania and everything. They rode him basically. He carried the brand for quite a while, but I think that he was entertaining and he appealed to the fans, but I don't think he was ever considered one of the best wrestlers in the ring, like his work in the ring. I mean, he was good with the microphone. He was good at reaching out to the fans. He had that image, the tan, the muscles, from California, and people fell in love with him. The Undertaker, he was also very talented in the ring, one of the best big men in the ring. He had the ability to wrestle against other people, and even if they were smaller than him. I mean, a lot of people will tell you The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, who my favorite wrestler of all time is Shawn Michaels. I don't think there's anybody that comes close to touching him in the ring as far as the wrestling skills. They'll say their two WrestleMania matches go down as two of the best matches ever. And Shawn Michaels is a smaller guy, and he's a high flyer and willing to risk everything. You know what I mean? So they work well. But The Undertaker's 55 years old. Pat asked on our Facebook, he says, how many times The Undertaker retired? Well, if you watch the thing, Pat, that's the thing about it, is that's how hard it is sometimes for them to walk away, because when they're going out to they're coming down to the ring, and he said this, Triple H said this on the special. It's like you're chasing the dragon because the fans are cheering you, and that's the adrenaline that's hard to walk away from. But I think that if you watch the special, you realize watching him, eventually your body just can't do it anymore, and his body is starting to give out, and he's not able to perform to the level he wants. And listen, his last two matches, AJ Styles at WrestleMania this year, and AJ Styles is one of the best right now, and his tag team match he had before that, those were good matches. So he went out on top, which is good, because a lot of people string it along for quite a while, like Ric Flair did. Shawn Michaels, I thought, retired at the perfect time. He came back and did that one tag team match in Saudi, which he'll admit was a disaster. And he probably shouldn't have done it because he was gone for a while, but he walked away at the right time, Mac. And I mean, this is a legend. And if you look, 55 years old, he always gives back to the sport, never turned his back on it. Let me show you some things here, Mac. He was the first person to take part in a casket match at Survivor Series in 1992. The first wrestler to take part in a buried alive match in 1996, and he was in the inaugural Hell in a Cell match in 1997, and he stayed with wrestling. When a lot of the big names like John Cena and The Rock went into movies, he stayed in wrestling, and he had the streak, and the streak will go down as one of the biggest streaks. It's the best streak probably in ever of wrestling. 21-0 he went at WrestleMania before he lost to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we all know that wrestling is a lot about entertainment, but there is skill, there is injuries, there is chances you take when you go into the ring. I mean, these guys do rehearse somewhat what they're doing in the ring, but they're still flying all over the ring. Things can go wrong. Most of them are tremendous athletes that have played in other sports. So, I mean, you saw that one scene. I don't know if you remember this or not, big guy, but Rivaldo Herrera was kind of interviewing somebody backstage at a wrestling meet, and he said that wrestling was fake. And this one wrestler slapped him upside his head. And he said, was that fake? These are very incredible athletes. Undertaker being one of the greatest. So, I mean, I do respect what they do in the ring, even though there is a lot of gamemanship to it. It's still a very dangerous sport. A couple people have died in wrestling. So, I mean, it's a very dangerous
paralyzed too. I mean, I don't buy the whole fake argument. Like I saw Mike chimed in and said, sorry, wrestling's fake. It's not fake. Can you jump off the rope and land through tables? Those tables aren't fake. The chairs they get hit with aren't fake. The abuse they put their body in. I mean, yes, they do tell a story and they do act, they do act out scenes and stuff. That's part of wrestling, but it doesn't change the way they beat up their body. And it doesn't change the way that, the way that they take the bumps and the hits. Those are real. All right. So yeah, they're not getting punched in the face at full speed because they know how to make it look, but that doesn't take away from what it is, So we have some comments on our Facebook feed. Jason says Undertaker Mankind at King of the Ring was epic. Michael's throwing it out that, add the Boiler Room Brawl and Mick Foley, add the Inferno match to name a few. Tyrone just said Owen Hart's death wasn't fake. Nope, not at all. Justin on Facebook also says a big fan of Eddie Guerrero. Timmy says it's scripted, but it's not fake. And he's right. But say it is scripted 100%, but what they put their bodies through is real. Undertaker, just to give you a note, Mac, when they went through the special, the Undertaker has had both eye sockets broken and had surgeries, had numerous hip, back surgeries. They're running, they're beating their body around. So appreciate the sport. That's one thing, but to call it fake, I think is a mistake.
Well, it's not exactly the same, but in other sports you practice, you go through drills, you get ready to go up against another person. So you are training yourself in the art of whatever sport that is. And to me, their description of this, even though it is high entertainment value, and we all know it's a soap opera kind of thing there that brings more fans in and makes it more interesting. And that's why it's more popular than college wrestling, real wrestling. So it is a big entertainment value, but yeah, it's script, but it's practice. They got to practice these moves or somebody will get hurt every match. Seriously. Absolutely.
And Jason on Facebook brought up a good point. He said Lesnar should not have been the one to beat the streak. And I agree with him 100%. Now I'm one of those people who I don't even know if the streak should have been broken, but I don't think Lesnar should have been the guy to do it. And I'm a fan of Brock Lesnar. He's the one who broke the streak, but to be honest with you, I've seen interviews with Brock Lesnar, and I'm not dumping on the guy. He's made it clear to him. It's just a business. He doesn't care about, the history of it or anything like that. He's going to do it till he feels he has enough money and he's going to quit. That's not the type of guy I would have let break the streak, but I'm almost certain Undertaker decided who broke the streak. I mean, he's the one who decided. So,
and isn't Brock Lesnar the one that went out for the UFC MMA fights? Mm-hmm. And didn't he also try out for the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, he didn't win for the Vikings, but he did win the title in the MMA. So, he's been around, and I mean, he wouldn't have been my choice. I would have been more okay with Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns went on to beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania after. I would have been more okay with Roman Reigns just because Roman Reigns grew up around the sport. He's related to The Rock. He has a more appreciation for the sport. And Brock, who I just watched an interview yesterday, Brock just treats it as a business. And it is a business. But if you're going to break one of the all-time greatest streaks in sports entertainment, it should have been somebody else. So we're taking your comments right now on The Undertaker. If you have comments on Facebook, give us a comment. If you want to call in because you're listening on the app, you can call in at 732-716-2606. I will put the number on the screen. The phone lines are open for a little bit right now. 732-716-2606 is the number if you'd like to call in. And it's pretty neat because you actually get to hear the phone ring because I don't know how to mute the phone. So I don't know how to mute the silence the phone on the computer. So, you'll get to hear the phone ring when you come in. So, Tyrone on Facebook writes in, makes sense for Brock to break the streak. He's not going to be solidified in WWE stone for it. A lot of people were upset. I mean, there was a lot of people up in arms that Brock Lesnar broke the streak. I mean, a lot of people. So, it is what it is. I mean, I would have been perfectly okay with the Undertaker streak never getting beat, and then he just retires.
Isn't that a decision by the uppers, the people that run the sport more than it is by that wrestler, right? I mean,
no, he had a big say. He chose.
He might have.
Once it got to where it was, he had all the say. I mean, if you watch the documentary, you'll see that Vince McMahon and The Undertaker are very close. And down the stretch, down these last like 5 to 10 years, The Undertaker had pretty much say of what's going to go on because they were okay with giving him that say because he wasn't one of those guys who wasn't willing to drop a match for somebody. And when you're somebody who's willing to drop a match for somebody, they don't need to control you. You know what I mean? There's been some wrestlers who have had problems in the past where they don't want to, they never want to lose to anybody. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. He would have been okay. He's put many people over. He's taken many beatings. I mean, he built up Jeff Hardy. He built as a singles wrestler. He built up a couple other people. I mean, this is stuff he never had to really do. Jason on Facebook says, I always thought Foley should have beat Taker at WrestleMania. Foley would have been a good guy too, because Mick Foley was crazy. I mean, you talk about a guy just willing to, and he wasn't built like these guys. He's built more like me with some blubber going on. You want to talk about a guy willing to be thrown off of stuff. You ain't throwing me off a cage through tables. I'll tell you that, off a steel cage. I'll be dead. So, I respect Mick Foley. Tyrone says on Facebook, Vince took a hit and changed his mind last minute. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But to be honest with you, we're honoring The Undertaker. Great career, one of the best. I'd be interested to hear from people, whether they're calling in or whether it's posted on Facebook. Let me see it. If you're posting on other pages on Facebook, we might not be able to see it unless you post it on the Big Guy Sports Facebook feed. So you got to go to the Big Guy Sports page on Facebook and post the comments there. I'm not sure if all the comments from all the different feeds will track in, as this is our first time being on multiple feeds instead of just the two. I'd like to hear where people rank their top 3 wrestlers. Like me personally, I rank them, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Ric Flair. Not my 3 all-time favorites, because one of my favorites all-time is the Ultimate Warrior. But if I'm going through skill-wise, I'm putting Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, and then Ric Flair. Who would you be your top 3, even if you're going old school, Mac? Who would be your top 3? Be anyone you want it to be.
Well, the number 1 would have to be Bruno Sammartino. I don't know if you've even heard of this guy.
Oh, Bruno. He's in the first WrestleMania. His son, David Sammartino, fought Brutus Beefcake, and Bruno Sammartino was his, I guess you can call him the manager. David never made it like his father, but okay.
Well, this guy was probably the best wrestling technician I ever saw in my life as far as a professional wrestler. Then I would have to probably go with Stone Cold Phillips, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Sorry.
Steve Austin, okay.
Yeah,
Phillips. Where's he going?
Phillips, yeah. But yes, that's his brother. But yes, Steve Cold, Cold Stone.
Stone Cold, yep.
Yes, sir. And then I don't know. I mean, I would have to go. My other favorite would have to be Hulk Hogan. I mean,
it's all right. Hulk Hogan was loved by a lot of people.
He wasn't always Hulk Hogan. He was under a different name, being the villain at one time. So, I mean, he changed his whole shtick to become, a good guy with the Hulkamaniacs and,
and then he went to WCW to be a bad guy, but he was still Hollywood Hulk Hogan, which was a good thing. Jason on Facebook writes Flair, Taker, Austin. I could throw another guy that I could tie at the number 3 spot with Ric Flair, especially if you want to go with just wrestling ability, technical ability, Bret Hart. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels had some of the greatest matches. Justin throws him on Facebook. Bruno Sammartino, Andre the Giant, Stone Cold. These are all people you can't go wrong with. I'm a little shocked that more people don't say Shawn Michaels is number 1. I think when I look back and I think about it, Shawn Michaels is involved in my top 3 matches of all time. And he was gifted.
Yeah, he was a good wrestler.
It's such a shame that he took a few years away from his career because he had an ego. It's a shame when you lose a little in the middle. Let's see. Michael Stone on Facebook says, I was there for Undertaker CM Punk at WrestleMania 29, which was at MetLife. He said they had everyone on edge. Punk taking down the streak, but look at the Undertaker streak prior. Batista, Edge, HBK, Triple H, Punk, Brock. As a fan, any of those matches could have taken it down. HBK, Jim, you mentioned instant classics at WrestleMania, which is why he's Mr. WrestleMania versus the Phenom. That is why Shawn Michaels is Mr. WrestleMania. Tyrone says Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Johnny Ross, and Moondog Rex. He laughs about it. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's a really good one too. I mean, that's a really classic. I think the WWE would have been really pissed off right now if they had let Punk break the streak, because he's not on good terms. He's not on good terms with them right now, or hasn't been for some time. So I think that would have really aggravated them. Well, yeah, Michaels missed time because of back surgery. Absolutely. He took some time away to get his, as he said, his smile back, if you've watched enough documentaries about him. But also anyone will tell you that before Shawn Michaels found God, which is true, he was very reckless and very, combatant, and, didn't want to always play ball. He fought a lot, but he always played ball, I guess, at the end. For me, he's the greatest of all time. And two of my favorite matches are Michaels and The Undertaker. I just think you can't go wrong. And when Ric Flair picked his last match, Shawn Michaels was the perfect guy to beat him and retire him. Yeah. I mean, so I still go back and watch Shawn Michaels matches. They're so good. So good. I mean,
do you remember Chief Jay Strongbow? You remember him?
I do. Yes.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff I used to watch. George Animal Steel, eating the ring. I mean,
George Animal Steel had like that whole angle with Macho King where George the Animal Steel was trying to get at Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah.
You know what I always remember about George the Animal Steel? He had an awful lot of back hair.
That's true. That's true. That's why he was an animal.
He didn't care. Yeah.
He didn't even talk. He just
Where is George the Animal Steel still alive? Where is George the Animal Steel today? That's what I'm.
He was great. Yeah, definitely.
I got some other people mentioned Macho King. A lot of people like Macho King. I was sad to see Macho King die. Macho King was one of my favorites also. You got to put Hulk Hogan up there, but anyway, so hopefully he'll stay retired, because that's truly the one thing I worry about when it comes to these wrestlers is, as they use the term chasing the dragon all the time. I know that's one of Triple H's favorite terms, is I worry about them not stopping when it's okay. When they're still walking, they're still not there. A lot of wrestlers have retired and had trouble walking. They were in so much pain that they just started popping pills and they died. You look at somebody like a couple years ago or several years ago, The Undertaker fought Bill Goldberg. And Bill Goldberg couldn't get him up all the way on his finishing move and almost paralyzed The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Very, very close.
But a lot of athletes, big guy, right? They don't know when to quit, whether it's wrestlers, boxers, football players, and they end up kind of, it's sad to see. Muhammad Ali, Johnny Unitas. I mean, a lot of different players in different kind of sports and even entertainers don't know when to call it quits. So it's very hard. It gets in your blood.
Yeah, Jason says on Facebook, it's sad how bad WWE is now. I watch more AEW than I do WWE, although I live on the WWE network, but I'm pretty much like reliving wrestling from like 1992, one episode at a time all the way through. And Tyrone on Facebook mentions, don't forget the AWA wrestlers were crazy. They're better than the WWF wrestlers. And don't forget ECW. ECW is nuts too. So, there's so many good wrestlers. Depends what you're looking for too. Like when I think Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Bret Hart, people like that, I think on the technical side of the ring. I think the best microphone wrestler of all time was The Rock.
Yeah.
The Rock was hilarious. I don't know who's better than The Rock with a mic. The Rock was just hilarious.
He's an entertainer. He's an entertainer. He's an actor.
Absolutely. He's not the best wrestler in the ring, but he wasn't bad. I'd still put him above Hogan as far as his wrestling skills, but nobody had a microphone like The Rock. The Rock was so entertaining, but and we lost a lot of years on The Rock because The Rock preferred movies. He said, I'm not going to beat my body up. I'm going to go be in, and they're paying him $10-20 million a film. So he's like, well, I don't make that in a year of wrestling, $20 million. So I'm going to go do movies. So
can't blame him.
Roddy Piper was good in the mic too. Tyro mentions on Facebook, and he was one of the few people never to win a world title, I don't believe.
Yeah. No, I think he did. I think he beat Hulk Hogan, as a matter of fact,
for the world title. I thought Roddy Piper was one of the few guys that never won the world title. And Jason's right. I think the WWE needs some refreshments on the talent. The problem is everybody's leaving the WWE when their contract's up and going to AEW. All things come to an end eventually.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? I think the WWE has a great women's division. You got Charlotte Flair, you had Becky Lynch, but she's pregnant now. Azuka is talented. I don't know. There's some stars there. So we say goodbye to the Undertaker, Mark Calloway. I'm sure we'll see him on TV again. Hopefully not wrestling. I can't think of a better wrestler for him to have ended his career against than AJ Styles. AJ Styles is probably the best wrestler in wrestling right now. You want to talk about today's day and age of Shawn Michaels? It's AJ Styles.
Well, that's good. He ended it the right way. That's good. Listen, everything good thing comes to an end except if it's football. So that's how it goes.
The only bad part about AJ Styles is it's a shame that AJ Styles didn't get to the WWE until like 5 years ago, and now he's in his 40s. Because AJ Styles is as talented as they come. He's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time.
There you go.
So. And Jason confirmed what I was saying. Piper never was the world champ, only the Intercontinental. And that's what I thought. I thought he never won the world. So, it is what it is. But, so Undertaker rides off into the sunset in the last ride. And now we can just watch all his old matches and have fun with it. And hopefully they'll find somebody to go up against AJ Styles and bring back some excitement, on the rest.
Hopefully somebody is entertaining too, because like I said, there was no better shtick than somebody coming out of a coffin or coming back from the dead. I mean, it's nothing like that.
Absolutely. And, with that being said, of course, we're going to move on to some other stuff. We're about to reach the 30 and 30 flash here in a few minutes, but we do have some other stuff to talk about. So a couple more minutes here on wrestling, and then we'll move on to Major League Baseball, Dak Prescott, A-Rod's still trying to build the Mets. And then we're going to do our movie thing, our sport. I have a ton of movie clips. Yeah. I think the last hour of the show is going to be 30 minutes us talking and 30-minute movie clips. And these movie clips are so good that I wouldn't be surprised if by the weekend, everybody's going and watching these movies again. Because when I was setting up these clips, some of them are a minute, some are 5 minutes, some are 3 minutes. I was setting up these movie clips today. I did mine in your top 5. Then I kind of went through my email and through my Facebook and everywhere else and wrote down who everyone voted for and got like a top 5 from from other people. And I took movie clips from everybody. Some are like a minute, some are 4 minutes, whatever. But when you watch these movie clips, you just get pumped up and you're like, wait a second, I got to go watch this movie again. But it's one of those situations where this weekend you see me lock myself in a room and just watch 30 hours worth of sports movies because I have to relive them all. And Tyrone on Facebook is mentioning that baseball is supposed to have a resolution today at 5. I think the world would be shocked if there was a baseball had a resolution. I think CNN would break news about baseball if there was actually a baseball resolution, because I'm not really sure if these guys can come to a resolution because they're a bunch of idiots at this point. So. At that point. So anyway, Mike loves our conversation about The Undertaker. Thank you. My goal in life, Mike, right now is to get Mac back into wrestling. I don't know how yet, but I'm working on it. But it might involve me sending him a bunch of clips every night of show, like just filling up his box, filling up his phone. I got to do what I got to do, to get him into it.
You can send all the clips of the women wrestlers if you like. I would probably watch all of those.
Whatever gets you to work, gets you in. I'll send you whatever you need to be sent. You want old school ones, like you want Sunny before she gained 200 pounds and did porn, or do you want like Trish Stratus, Lita? They're still lookers. Right, they don't wrestle anymore, but I got them I follow them on social media.
There you go.
Pat brought up something about baseball. We're going to bring up baseball after the flash. In a couple minutes, we're going to do our inaugural sports flash update, 30 and 30, which we're doing every 30 minutes now, a little quick sports flash. And then we're going to go into, we're going to talk some baseball because there should be a resolution today. And I really have a strong opinion about these idiots. Am I allowed to have a strong opinion about these idiots? Because I'm like so frustrated with all of these people at the moment that I just, they're all
they can't decide. They can't decide on where to have dinner right now. So that's
Michael says to get you the bra and panty matches from WWE Network. I'll just let him use my login. It's okay.
Oh, Lord.
I got the subscription. He can use it. I don't care. I won't be offended. It's okay. You know what I mean? So I'm down for whatever's going to make him happy. So, all right. So let's get into 30-30 Flash. And, our first one, which should be pretty exciting. Here we go.
The Big Guy Sports 30 and 30 Sports Flash.
Yeah, this is the Big Guys Sports Update. Latest Major League news. Both owners and players are still working on a number of games to play. If the season starts, Union is expected to vote today. And in MMA news, controversy surrounds fighter Max Roskoff and his corner as he told them 9 times he couldn't fight on ESPN. There's actual audio telling his corner that he couldn't do it, with his corner pushing him in to continue, leading him to quit on his own. Safety Jamal Adams continues to taunt the Jets on social media about desire to be traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Kyle Hadala has been arrested in the sucker punch attack on Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert. And in NBA news, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, a source says that the NBA draft will be held October 16th. Early entry deadline is August 17th, and some people are upset that the draft will go up against the NFL season. And that's the latest from the world of sports. It's brought to you by the Big Guy Sports Network. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
That is some good points there. I mean, we're definitely going to spend some more time on Jamal Adams, who's taken over my life this week. And I don't know if you saw about that sucker punch. I mean, I guess that's the only way you could lay out a football player. But I was happy with the Eagles players who came to his defense and basically said if we were there, there'd be some people, we'd be in jail. So yeah, that's nice. I don't know what's going on with this country right now and everybody fighting, but whatever. And we'll definitely get in this week to the thing. What'd you think about that before I get into baseball, that MMA thing? I mean, this guy's telling his corner, I can't get back in, and they're telling him to go back in.
It was unbelievable. Your corner is supposed to be there to protect you. Was supposed to be there to help you. And here's this guy on short notice. He got scheduled on his fight on short notice, so he wasn't really ready to fight. And at the second, third round, he tells them, hey, listen, I can't do this. And they're saying, oh, yeah, you can. And it was ridiculous.
Where are the doctors to step in and say, listen, your guy's saying he's not going in? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So anyway, as Tyrone has mentioned, today we are going to have another vote on the union. Now, I don't even understand what they're voting about. I mean, first of all, let's look at this first situation. They've gone back and forth like 9 times. 9 times. They even met in person. The Major League Baseball, did I miss something? Because the union told Major League Baseball, you decide how many games we're going to play, that you'll pay 100% prorate, and their slogan was "We'll be there," or whatever their slogan was.
Right.
So MLB says 60 games, and they counter. You just said you'll be there. What are you countering? And what is there for them to vote on today? 60 games is what they're willing to pay you. 100% prorate. Take it or keep your butts home and shut up. I mean,
right.
What does it tell me what they're voting on, please?
But the counter was what, 70 days? They want that 10 more days of pay. They want to get
that bastards.
They want to get the water. They want to get the water from the stone, that blood. They want that little last piece.
That's greedy. I lost a lot of respect for baseball players.
I have to. And
tell me what they're voting on. Make me understand. If they said whatever 100% you prorate, even if it's 40 games, they're like, we'll be there. Well, then there's nothing to vote on. Show up. Time to go.
I guess. Isn't the contract? Doesn't it say it doesn't matter the amount of games anyway? Isn't that already agreed upon?
Actually, they signed an agreement in March that says as long as MLB is willing to 100% prorate, they can determine the games for this season. The commissioner could come out tomorrow and say 20 games, and that's what it is.
Right. And if they don't go, they don't get paid. Right. That's the contract. So I mean, they don't get paid for this year or whatever it is.
What are they voting on? What's it about?
I don't know. Maybe new uniforms. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe they want like $1 million worth of sunflower seeds.
That could be.
Can they spit those on the ground with the virus?
Not anymore.
Spit anymore. I can't wait to see how they're going to control people's natural instinct to spit.
That's going to be rough. I mean, really.
No, I mean that's just the natural thing you don't even think about, like talking or, when you're on the field, you just spit. How are they going to control that? Aaron Judge, you just spit. You have to sit out the rest of the game.
Did you see that post on the Big Guy sports page about the 1918 flu, the Spanish flu that killed millions of people worldwide? They still play baseball. So here's the batter up at bat, and he's got his mask on, and he's ready. The catcher has his mask on and the mask for the virus underneath it. It's been done before.
For like what, $3 too?
Yeah, right. I mean that and maybe a cigar or something because they smoked back then.
Must be nice to have the type of money where you can just like, I don't need to play. I'll stay.
Exactly.
So, Pat on Facebook is predicting that they will not have a resolution this year and they won't play. I think a lot of fans feel like you do, Pat. I think at this point they're just perfectly fine with it being canceled and just going. Yeah. I think people are so frustrated and sick to death over this whole thing. And it's disgusting. I don't even really know how they can still negotiate. I mean, let's vote on it. What are you voting on? Vote on what? Just shut up and come play. I mean, Tony Clark, give it a rest already. I mean, Lord Almighty.
And I know, right from the get-go, there was some owners that just said cancel season because they can't afford it. They can't afford the rent. They can't afford the utilities. They can't afford the insurance. They can't afford any of this stuff that's going to happen in this short season.
Don't worry, people. When they lock out next year after 2021, we are going to start a Big Guy Sports Network, MLB The Show League, and we'll just stream those games. You can watch just like you're watching them do MLB The Show games on TV right now. We're going to let you play and stream it. You'll be the stars.
Hey, listen, I say, you know what I say? I say we form a softball team, and we go up and we challenge the players to a softball game, and we'll give it away to charity. Which is, are you kidding
me? These pampered babies, you think they're going to play anything for free?
No.
They're a bunch of pampered, spoiled brats.
Crazy.
Bryce Harper's like, maybe I'll go play football. I wish you would, so I could see one of the football players knock you out.
Yes, sir.
Man, go play football.
Yes, sir.
When you get hit by the safety, don't cry. Don't get choked out. Don't get choked out like you did by Papelbon.
Right.
In the ring. So in other baseball news, while they're sitting there, and if they do a vote while we're on the air and we get a decision, we will definitely announce it and let you know. Other news, the more and more that I get news on this, I think A-Rod and J-Lo are going to own the Mets. I really do. And I'm okay with it. As a Met fan, I have no problem with it. I will take anyone but the Wilpons. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'll take Charlie Brown. I don't care. As long as it's not the Wilpons. And today, the report came out because, as you know, A-Rod and J-Lo have a lot of money, but they don't have Steve Cohen money.
Right.
Now, a report came out a few days ago that confirmed what I had been saying for a month. I have been talking about for a month that Cohen will eventually come back in with an offer because the Wilpons will get desperate. They'll have to give up everything. They won't be able to fight for SNY or anything, and he'll come in because he's still got the most money.
Right.
But A-Rod and J-Lo have been looking for investors, and now they found one. They found billionaire Mike Rapoli has joined A-Rod and Jennifer Lopez in the bidding group in hopes to buy the Mets. Now, this guy's a billionaire, just like Steve Cohen. He's got money. He's also a fan of the Mets, which helps. Anybody who's a fan of a Mets, that helps a little bit because then you hurt when they lose.
Right.
I think the Wilpons would be a fan of the Newark Bears if they owned them. I don't think it cares who they like. And let's see some stats about this guy. He has a lot of Met ties. He was involved in Vitamin Water, which David Wright was a big part of as an investor and a spokesman. He's been a thoroughbred owner, a Queens native. He's a huge Met fan. He's been mentioned many times. I had never heard him mentioned. So he's jumping in the fray too. So A-Rod and J-Lo are getting some money, Mac. This might happen.
And that's real good news for the Mets. Me being a big Yankee fan, I mean, our little brothers have got to get some respect out there and got to stop losing money. Cohen has got to still be in the mix, but listen, A-Rod knows a little bit about baseball. J-Lo knows a little bit about entertainment. And this other guy's got some money. It sounds like a pretty good team to me. I mean, listen, you might have J-Lo concerts, like for the 7th inning stretch.
I have absolutely zero problem with watching those.
Yes. Seventh inning stretch. Here comes J-Lo on a little stage, doing a little number for you. and you guys will be all set. So I'm glad that the Jets are getting some interest.
The Mets. Don't call us the Jets, please.
Well, the Mets are getting.
The Jets have more problems than the Mets. All right,
that's true.
I'm going to kill me in a minute. But yeah.
I am glad that you guys are finally getting somebody up there that really wants to own and take care of your organization.
Yeah, and it'd be great too, because now's the time to sell it, Will Ponds, because there might not be baseball for 3 years. You got this year. How are they going to afford to pay him next year? And then you got the strike. So, I mean, if there's ever a good time to get out while the going's good, Will Ponds, it's now. But Will Ponds aren't that smart. They'll hang on to it till it's worth $200,000 and say, you know what, we might as well just keep it. And, as Met fans, we'll just, I'll die without ever getting happiness again.
Well, they've been losing $50 million a year, and that's with a competitive team. I mean, that's
I don't think they know what they're doing.
I don't think so.
They make money. Don't get it wrong. The Will Ponds profit because they profit off of SNY. SNY is a cash cow. They're making.
Right. But SNY, what are they going to show next year? Old clips of the '69 Mets miracle.
Right now, they're showing the MLB The Show season. The Mets are doing pretty good. They're like 10 games over 500. If life was a video game, they're in first place.
There you go, man. There you go.
And Tyrone on Facebook says that he believes the coupons are stalling because they don't want to show the books. I wouldn't show the books. Would you show the books?
I would imagine they're showing them to the people that are trying to make offers on the team. I mean, before you even make an offer, you're going to want to see what these guys.
Well, they had an offer. They had $2.6 million, and as long as they gave up control of the Mets and SNY, they would be rich right now.
Well, that's what I wish
they took that deal right now.
But that's what I'm saying. If you make an offer to anybody on any business, they got to show you what they made, their profit, their gross, all that stuff has to be out there. There ain't no lawyer that's going to sign off on any deal if he don't know what's going on with the business. So they've looked at the books.
They lost like $800 million on this deal because they had $2.6 million in their hands, and I bet they're looking at it now like, damn, we should have took it.
Yeah, maybe.
Now they only get 1.8 with no control of anything. And at the time, if they would have just gave up control of the team, Cohen would have bought it for 2.6 and let them keep SNY.
Yeah,
he didn't want them to have a part of the team.
Right. Well, that's what you were saying.
My money. Why do I have to get approval from you to go get a player?
That's what you were talking about. You were talking about 5 years. They wanted to still be like GMs of the team.
Oh yeah, please, killing me here. So that's the deal with the Mets. Let's talk a little bit about football. I just saw breaking news. We know that it was rumored yesterday, but now it's official. Dak Prescott has signed his franchise tag for $31.4 million. So that's got to piss off Jamal Adams, dude. You ain't worth 20 and his franchise tag's worth 31.4. So Dak Prescott gets $31.4 million this year while he continues to negotiate for a longer deal. Dak Prescott, I put in with the baseball players as greedy and disgusting. I mean, he got an offer of $35 million a year for 5 years. He didn't want to take it for two reasons. He wanted it to only be 4, so he can cash in again. And then he wanted $45 million the last year because the cap's going to go up. How about you win a few playoff games first? Maybe leave your team a little bit of money so they can get in some players, since you obviously can't win with the players you have, and then worry about your money.
Well, I mean, I have mixed feelings. Listen, I'm a huge Giant fan. I hate the Cowboys since the early 1970s. But I respect good players, and I respect people that go out there and do their thing and play a good ball game. I mean, Prescott is probably one of the better younger quarterbacks in the league right now. And if he gets a coach in there this year, if McCarthy does a good job, he'll continue to prosper. It's not his fault that the teams lose. A lot of it has to do with their defense. They got a strong running game. They got a good passing game. And Zach, there's a method to his madness here by taking the franchise tag because the cap is going up. So he'd be foolish now to negotiate anything till after the cap goes up. I mean, if I was his agent, I'd say, hey, sit tight, let him sign you, franchise you. And if they can't sign you next year, I know there's another team that would want him. And he could start on almost any team in his league, almost any team. So
he ain't starting for us, Giants.
Well, I'm just saying, almost on any team in this league, he could start. He's a good young quarterback. He's a playmaker. He's fairly accurate. He's like in the top 5 quarterbacks in a lot of stats. So yeah, I mean that's what's going on today, big guy. I mean, you got the quarterbacks making a lot of money.
Right, but let me ask you a question. In a league like football, where your contracts are not guaranteed, only the money you sign up front, you got offered 5 years at $35 million a year. What happens if he gets hurt? He gets nothing else. Career-ending injury. I mean, why would you not take that? That's a lot of money. Right now, I just have no sympathy for anyone turning down lots of money because of what's going on. You know, if nothing ever happened with the coronavirus and everything was hunky-dory and everybody was out working and had a job and everybody was doing what they're supposed to be doing and making money and everybody's happy, you know, I probably wouldn't even spend a second thought about it.
Hey, listen, I definitely agree with everything you said there. That's why I'm a little ticked off at the players more than normal in baseball because there's no games. The NFL ain't saying the players aren't saying we're not playing if we don't get such and such. They're negotiating deals that are according to their contract. And I'll tell you, the football players union is a lot weaker than most unions in sports. I mean, they're very agreeable to the owner's request. They work out deals, unbelievable deals for the owners. So, I mean, listen, you know what's going to happen when Patrick Mahomes gets his contract? It's going to be unbelievable. I'm not comparing Dak.
Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Dak.
I'm not comparing him to Mahomes. I'm just saying Dak is just as big a part of that offense as Mahomes is to the Kansas City offense. That you can't.
But isn't this just going to turn out the way it always turns out? A quarterback signs a big deal, gets all this money, and then by a year, halfway through the contract, they're asking him to take a pay cut so they can sign players to make the team competitive.
Yes. That's the biggest problem today in football. I mean, the GMs have got a unbelievable job ahead of them because these star players, whether they're quarterbacks, receivers, or running backs, what do you have left over to build that team? Because, of course, Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott can't win the games by themselves. They need an offensive line and weapons around them. So if the GMs have got to come up with a formula that keeps some players around them, keeps the team strong, and still pays their most important.
But see, that's my problem, though. How do you pay Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson money when Russell Wilson wins? He's won a Super Bowl, been to another Super Bowl. He wins a lot of games. Dak Prescott doesn't win squat.
But again, a quarterback stat isn't wins. If Seattle Seahawks got to the Super Bowl because of their great defense and a great running game, I mean, not taking nothing away nothing from the quarterback at Seattle. But listen, Russell Wilson is a great dynamic quarterback. But Seattle went to the Super Bowl because of their defense, a running game, and that's why they went to the Super Bowl. It wasn't all Wilson.
Yeah, but wins do matter sometimes for a quarterback. Take example Eli Manning. If Eli Manning does not win 2 Super Bowls, he's not going to the Hall of Fame.
Well, there you go again. Eli Manning did not win 2 Super Bowls.
Right, but he's going to get to the Hall of Fame because of 2 wins in the Super Bowl. If you take those away, he's very average.
Right. But he's still 7th in passing all time. He's still 7th in touchdowns all time.
But again, threw more interceptions and touchdowns too.
Well, I think it's 116 to 160. I think it's a dead even tie. But beside the point, Eli Manning did not win those Super Bowls.
I understand that, but they're going to help get him in the Hall of Fame.
Probably so, and probably deservedly so. But so are some of the defensive players that played, like Michael Strahan, who I think is already in there. And Tiki Barber, of course, that's before the Super Bowls, but on the team with Eli at the time when he was playing. He has a shot at getting the Hall of Fame with his numbers, too. So there are other people that are going to benefit from that. Listen, football is a team sport. People forget about that. They follow the football all around the field. It's a team sport. Without a good team, I don't care who you got at quarterback, you're not winning football games.
I don't know. I mean, it's a lot to pay him. Listen, I'm not mad. They want to pay him, let him pay him. Because the more money the Cowboys pay him, they've already given a lot of money to Zeke. They've already given a lot of money to the wide receiver. If they want to give him a lot of money, go right ahead. Because I don't care with the cap going up or not. I've said this 100 times on this show. I'm a Giants fan. You want to tie up the cap? Tie him up. I don't care. We'll throw all over them all day. Saquon will run all over them because they won't be able to afford anyone on defense. Jamal Adams crying like a little child about being traded, who's another guy I have no respect for. When Jamal Adams is out there crying like a child to go to the Cowboys, it's like they can't afford you. So why are you going to go there? You're not going to get paid there.
Yeah, and And here's a guy that we're talking about. Here's a guy, Jamal Adams, that already got all his money up front, has a contract.
No respect for him. No
right.
respect at all.
Has a contract, and after having that contract, still has a year to negotiate with him. So, I mean, to me now, that's something that a player is taking advantage of and trying to use social media to put pressure on a team where he shouldn't be doing.
Absolutely. I hope the Jets hold him and make him suffer. You're staying. You signed a deal, play it. You're a big boy. Play
yes, sir.
It, you know? Yeah, well, Tyrone's right. Tyrone on Facebook mentioned that at some point the Giants are going to run into cap issues. That's same thing. I understand that. But I'm willing to go on record and guarantee you that Daniel Jones does not turn down a big contract waiting for more money. Watch.
And here, this is when Dave Gettleman, we talk about Dave Gettleman, the GM for the Giants, great drafter. This is where he makes his money. He's got to come up with a formula that he can sign these players like Barkley and Jones and whoever else the stars come to become on the Giants. He's got to work out that formula to make the team stay strong and have those star players.
The difference between the Giants and the Cowboys is Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones are team guys. Dak Prescott's a me guy.
Well, so far, I mean, Dak showed no signs of being like this. I mean, he was working under a rookie contract. He never complained. He was
honored it. Right.
So I mean, he never showed signs of this. I think if Dak was really not a team guy, he would never sign this.
Well, he doesn't look like a team guy right now because of the fact that, you know, right now he was, you know, it's hard. Like I said, it's magnified because of what's going on in the world.
Definitely agree with that. 100%.
It would be like middle of page sports news if everybody was playing, because everyone would be focused on what the Yankees and Mets were doing and what their local teams are doing. But instead, it's, you know, it's magnified because there's nothing else really to talk about.
And not only that, big guy, there's a lot of people that are hurting out there that are trying to get by and they're trying to make a living and their unemployment's not coming in and places are closing and we're under these strict rules in some places and people are just mad. And then you have somebody that's, you know, like you said, I want $35 million. And you're like,
well, no, he got 35. He wants 45 in the last year.
Right. So, I mean.
So it is what it is. I mean, you know, Jerry, you know, who knows? I mean, if I was Jerry Jones, it's just me, you know, see what your team does this year, because you've had a team that a lot of people for the last few years thought should win the Super Bowl. And you didn't. You didn't even make it to the Super Bowl. See what your team does this year. And you know what? For once, stand up to the players and understand that you run the team, not the players. When we go to work, we don't run the job. We don't go to who goes to work. Which one of us goes to work and tells our boss, this is what we're doing?
Yeah.
That's not how it works. You own the team. He's your employee. Whether he's a bad guy or not, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm saying he looks greedy. I didn't say he's a bad guy. Let him play this year. And if Dak doesn't get the team over the hump deep into the playoffs or the Super Bowl, let him walk and keep Andy Dalton. And I don't care. Let him walk.
And keep Andy Dalton.
Dak Prescott to win. The offensive line is one of the best in the league. Anybody with time will sit back there. Dalton's not a bum. He's not as good as Dak Prescott, but if you give him the time to throw, he'll put up better numbers than he did in Cincinnati, where he was running for his life all the time. Ezekiel Elliott is still going to run for days and throw the money in your defense, Dallas.
Definitely.
So you can win a Super Bowl. How do you win a Super Bowl without an elite quarterback? Trent Dilfer, Baltimore. Joe Flacco, not really elite. Eli Manning, not really elite. He just didn't turn the ball over in the playoffs. You know, and had some good throws. So let's see. So some comments here. Tyrone on Facebook says, I disagree. Jerry Jones is very strategic. He doesn't communicate with anyone. Dak isn't a bad guy. I don't think he is either. Al says on Facebook, Dak did what you want. Played at a high level, didn't miss aims, didn't end up on the front page. That's right. Character-wise, there's nothing wrong with Dak Prescott. Tyrone says, I'm not upset at all. You think those capitalists care what you lost? Nope. They find a way to find your loss. That is true. And Al says, and now he wants to get paid. I don't get the problem. Dak is good, but he's not Wilson or Rodgers, but he's as good as Wentz or Cousins. Well, that's the problem, Alice. He wants Rodgers and Wilson money. You just answered your own question. You say he's not as good as them, but he wants to be paid like them. I have no problem with Dak Prescott getting more money than Kirk Cousins or Wentz, but they offered him more money. I'd have to look up Kirk Cousins' contract, but I think 4 years, $35 million a year was more money total than Kirk Cousins got, wasn't it? Kirk Cousins turned 3 years for, was it 90, 95? I'd have to look it up, but
I think Kirk Cousins' contract is fully guaranteed. He's getting that money. I mean, there's
absolutely. And I think Dak was going to get like 80, 90% of it guaranteed, and he probably still will. Dak is going to get paid, and you said it before. If he's not by the Cowboys, he's going to get paid by somebody.
Sure is.
What I'm just saying is, at some point, when is enough enough? Football is a salary cap sport, Mac. We're not talking about baseball.
And even though Dak can go to a lot of teams, what teams does he want to go to? Because teams with good quarterbacks aren't going to take a chance on him. So he's going to have to go on to a lower or medium team that's not really competitive. So I mean, there is play both ways. Both people have leverage. It works out.
Yeah, well, Tyrone mentioned it's 5 year. He wanted 4 years. That's what I said before. Dallas wanted 5 years. Dak wanted 4. Then Dak kind of compromised and said, well, okay, then pay me $45 million in the 5th year. And they didn't want to do that. So, it's back and forth. I can understand where Dak is coming from that standpoint. I mean, if the cap's going to go up, he wants more money. But I think that as a team, I think when Dallas said to him, well, here's 5 years, $35 million, I think they were overpaying. I look at what the other quarterbacks are worth, and I think he's worth more like 30. So I think Jerry Jones has already shown willingness to pay him more than he's worth, because he's not worth Russell Wilson and he's not worth Aaron Rodgers. And, Tyrone mentioned, well, Eli killed our cap. Yeah, but Eli also took money back when they needed players. When they needed players, Eli said, there were times in years where Eli said, all right, I'll defer, do whatever you got to do. Jason says, well, who's going to be the first $50 million quarterback? It's not that far from happening, because if Dak gets 35 or 40, what's Mahomes going to get?
Oh, he's going to set the bar.
Right. Mahomes is a better quarterback, and he's already won a title. So, that's what I said. What Al just brought up on Facebook, he says, as a Giant fan, he's also a Giant fan. Pay Dak 50 and kill their cap. I'm all for that. Pay him 100. Yeah. Pay him. I don't care. Kill the cap. I mean, he'll be killing everyone's cap, because
it's going to be
100. You got to give Mahomes 120.
It's going to be our turn next, though. I mean, we can say what we want, but Barkley coming up, and if he has another couple strong years, man, he's going to be getting McCaffrey money, if not more, with a cap going up. And Jones, if he has a couple of good years where he's showing that he can lead, he's going to get a lot of money. So I mean, it's going to be that way for all teams.
Well, the Giants are going to have their time, because if Barkley stays healthy, he's going to want to be the high. You're going to have to pay him more than McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. If Barkley has 2 years of healthiness, the next 2 years, and he puts up numbers like he did in his rookie year, he's going to get more than McCaffrey. Barkley's going to become the highest paid running back in the league. And if Daniel Jones, who, if you take out his fumbles, had a killer year as a rookie. If it wasn't for Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones was rookie of the year.
Great.
And Daniel Jones had a killer year if you take away the fumbles. If he learns how to not fumble and keeps putting up double the amount of touchdowns to interceptions and all those yards, Daniel Jones is going to get paid. Maybe not Mahomes money, but Daniel Jones will get paid in that range of $30, $35 million, because that's what starting quarterbacks get. So, yeah, the Giants are going to have their time where they're going to have to pay guys, and they know this. They know
the only good thing is we have a lot of young offensive linemen that are still going to be in their first contract, or you know what I'm saying. So it's not like what Dallas had to pay all their all-pro offensive linemen first, which I think was a great move to get the protection around the quarterback, whether it was Dak or whether it was the second stringer. The Red Rifle, is that his nickname? I think
Aaron Dalton is the Red Rifle.
So, I mean, that was a smart thing to do. I mean, they got Cooper signed. They got Elliott signed. So, basically, big guy. You could go back there and maybe throw for, $150 and maybe hand the ball off on.
I'm just saying it's doable. It's doable. But, yeah, the Barkley's going to be the first. Going to want. Jason on Facebook mentions, Barkley's going to want 17 to 20. Of course he is, because Barkley is arguably the second best running back in the sport, maybe behind McCaffrey, and who knows if he won't be the best in 2 years. Tyrone mentions that he thinks Mahomes' deal is already worked out and they're just using common sense. Well, you have to. I think if you're a team, especially look at the Giants. You want to use the Giants as an example since we talked New Year's sports, and really quick, because then we get to the Flash update and then we'll go into very exciting movie spot, which I think people are going to love because I have so many clips. But anyway, if you want to look at it, if you're the Giants, you have to think 3 years ahead and think I have to put it in a situation where when it's time to pay Barkley and Jones, we have the money.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, who has 4 first-round picks in 2 years? You tell me the Giants have 4 first-round picks in 2 years? We had 4 first-round. Okay, that's what he's saying. I was going to say, he said, because yes, we have. So anyway, we got another Flash update, and then we're going to get into movies. And this is going to be fun. If you like movie clips and you want to get excited about some of the best scenes from some of the sports movies you used to watch while commenting and, not listen to us talk so much because you get to watch a lot of clips, this is going to be a joy for you. So first, we're going to get into the Sports Flash. Here we go.
The Big Guy Sports 30 and 30 Sports Flash.
It's 5:00 and we have another Sports Flash update for you as we touched base at the 4:30 hour. Baseball is planning to vote any minute right now, and the owners and players are still trying to work out a deal to find out if baseball will play this year. That vote is supposed to take place now, and we should have breaking news by the end of the day. In football news, as we mentioned, Jamal Adams continues to taunt the Jets, speaking on social media, saying he wants to be traded to the Cowboys. In NBA news, the commissioner is now talking to the players as they are having second thoughts about whether they should play in Orlando, considering Florida is blowing up with cases. And as we just spoke about in the last half hour, Alex Rodriguez and J-Lo are picking up steam as they have found another person to join their team in their pursuit to purchase the Mets. That is your 30 and 30 Big Guy Sports Flash update. You can follow us at the Big Guy Sports on Twitter or Facebook, and that's another update. So, Mac, we did another update. Tyrone's ready to pay them all. We're ready for movies. So here's what I did. I put it out. You had mentioned to me you wanted to do this. Someone else had mentioned that we should do this, so I did it. So anyway, I put a post out this morning. I emailed some people. Any way I can get in touch with people to try to get feedback. Say you could have a top 5 list. I could have a top 5 list. And then we'd have honorable mentions from the fans. Some people voted for some movies that didn't make the movies list, so I don't have clips for them. What shocked me about this, because we did not converse, Mac and I did not converse. Mac and I have none of the same movies in the top 5. None of the same. I don't know how that's even possible. We both have top 5 movies. None of them match up. I'm not talking about the order. I'm not saying none of my number 2 is not your number 2. My top 5 and your top 5 are 10 different movies.
It just shows. We'll see who has the best taste and the best knowledge in sports.
I think it's just preference. And here's the funny part. The fans' top 5 is almost different from our top 5 because I got votes in via email today. I got votes in via Facebook Messenger today. I got votes in on the Facebook pages, a few today. Some of them made the list. Some of them didn't. I only went with 15 videos today. But
so wait a minute. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute before you start. What 5 picks between us the fans had most on their list? Who did they go with?
Oh, mine. One of mine. No, I'm telling you, there was a lot of votes for Remember the Titans.
Okay.
You asked. I'm just.
Right. I'm talking about all 5 picks.
Had some weird stuff. Like Alex on Facebook had voted for, which this didn't make the list. He voted for. He put a lot of Mighty Ducks movies up there, which didn't make the list. So I don't have a for the Mighty Ducks. A couple people put, but they just missed getting in the 5 for the fans. A couple people put Miracle on Ice. They did that but that didn't make the list. So we'll start. Some of these clips are like a minute. Some of them are 3 minutes, but we try to give you a little clip so you could see it. Let me say up front, I apologize if you have kids, you might want, some of them have a little language in them. I can't do anything about that. I can't mute out language from a clip. So we're going to do the fans 5 first.
All right.
So what do you think was in number 5? You want to take a guess on a movie that's not on your list? That was number 5.
That's not on my list.
This is a shocking one, but it's one that I like, actually.
Well, Durham?
No. Bend It Like Beckham was number 5. So the only clip I could find that was really good was like a little one about the father talking to the daughter. And I own this movie. I like it. So I'm going to play a little clip for you here. I may not play the whole thing, but I'll play a little.
All right.
And I was happy because I wasn't sneaking off and lying to you. I didn't ask to be good at football. Guru Nanak must have blessed me. Anyway, there was a scout from America there today, and he's offered me a place at a top university with a free scholarship and a chance to play football professionally. And I really want to go. And if I can't tell you what I want now, then I'll never be happy whatever I do.
I'll keep that one short. Have you ever seen Bend It Like Beckham?
Never.
You got to see it. It's a good soccer movie. I'm telling you. It's a good soccer movie. I didn't vote for it. They voted for it. But it's an excellent soccer movie. I'm just telling you.
Okay, I saw it.
I like it. Not one of the classics, but we have plenty of classics. So number 4 from the fans was another movie I had a tough time making my top 5 because there's like 20 sports movies I absolutely love. But number 4 was a movie which I love. This is another movie I own. I'm starting to think that I own every sports movie on DVD because I was looking at these 15 and I couldn't find a list of movies that I didn't like. Did you ever see the movie Blue Chips?
I don't think so.
This is a college basketball movie with Nick Nolte. It was Shaquille was in it, Penny Hardaway. They played the players. This is when they first both came in the league. It's about scandalous, like they went out and, recruited players and paid money for them and stuff. So this is a short scene. It's not too long. It's like 2 minutes from Blue Chips. Great movie. I mean, it's hard to keep it out of my top 5. Let me give you a clip here and then we'll talk about it.
All right, boys. We got a job to do. We got a job. Now, goddammit, we're not going out there to make a good show or just put up a good fight. We're going out there to beat the best goddamn team in the country right now. Now, let me tell you something, boys. You may not know this, but I know it. I've been there before. There is the talent in this room to do just that, to beat Indiana. All right, Butch, the ball is yours. And our first option is to get the ball into Neon. And Neon, goddammit, you take it to the basket and you take it hard. Now they're going to make an adjustment. And when they adjust and double down and triple down on Neon, we're going to move the ball out to Ricky. And Ricky, you can put it up from where you're at all night long. The basket is the same height as it was at your father's barn in Indiana. Boys, Indiana's over there in the other locker room wondering what the hell we're going to do. Well, I'll send a note over to Bobby Knight, and I'll tell him exactly what we're going to do. I'll give him our offense, I'll give him our defense. Because it's not what you do, goddammit, it's how you do it. And we're going to go nose to nose with him. And we're going to beat him at both ends of the court. And you're going to play better than you ever dreamed of. Because, goddammit, that's what I demand of you. All right? Let's go.
You can't go wrong with that movie, can you? I mean, Blue Chips, man, that's a classic.
I love the names and the back to Dolphins. I know we're not supposed to rip off any other teams, but the Dolphins basketball team,
Western Michigan Dolphins.
Okay.
What do you? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
I don't know. Is that a real name of a school's basketball team?
I don't know. I'm just telling you that's what they were playing at. Justin said the Dolphins. Yeah, ew. Just don't even like the Dolphins on Facebook. He said, how are you going to put the Dolphins up there? I don't know, Justin, but if you guys on Facebook or have some comments, please share your movies. The next one's a classic. Everybody knows this line. This is another fan one. This was another one that I had a really tough time not putting in my top 5. And if you didn't see this next movie, I don't know, Mac. I don't know. I mean, we might have to come lock you in the house and just turn on the TV and see what happens. Because I don't think this is a class. This is always one of the most famous lines ever in sports. So if they don't know this one, I don't know what to say. There we go. Number 3 on the fans list.
Hey, Evelyn, can I ask you a question? You got a moment?
Mm-hmm.
Which team do you play for?
Well, I'm a peach.
Well, I was just wondering, because I couldn't figure out why you would throw home when we've got a 2-run lead. You let the tying run get on second, and we lost the lead because of you. Now you start using your head. That's that love that's 3 feet above your ass. Are you crying?
No.
Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
Why don't you leave her alone, Jimmy?
Oh, you zip it, Doris. Rogers Hornsby was my manager, and he called me a talking pile of pig shit. And that was when my parents drove all the way down from Michigan to see me play the game. And did I cry? No. No. And you know why?
No.
Because there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in baseball. No crying.
What's the matter, Jimmy?
What? She's crying, sir.
I didn't mean to do that.
Perhaps you chastised her too vehemently. Good rule of thumb. Treat each of these girls as you would treat your mother.
Anyone ever tell you look like a penis with a little hat on?
You're out of here!
Oh, no,
right
no,
now,
no,
Jimmy,
you,
I heard
you
that!
Misunderstood me.
Man,
You misunderstood me!
No, I
You
didn't.
can't throw me out for that!
Is there a better line than that in a baseball movie?
No, sir. That's a classic right there.
Please tell me you've seen that movie.
Of course I saw that movie.
Everyone on Facebook. There's no crying in baseball.
Right.
How can you even go wrong on that, right?
No, you can't. I mean, wouldn't make my top 5, but it's a good movie.
Well, it made the fans top 5.
Well, there you go. Well, they know better than me. I know that for sure. I mean,
Well,
that's why they put up with me.
All right, so I think I got another good one. The fans came in at number 2. The fans were on top of this today. I mean, they were in there. They knew what they wanted. And there's another one that was like right off my list. Right, it's very, very close. This is a good. I'm not gonna play the whole clip. I'm just gonna play a few of the famous lines in the beginning. All right, you know, you got to know this movie. You know this.
Right.
Top of the 6th, and rookie sensation Ricky Vaughn on the pitch now. You can close the book on Kellner.
Thank God.
Relax, Ricky. We're only 4 runs down. We're still in this game.
You take it to him?
Oh, all right.
Look, man, guy gets a second, first sign indicator.
Vaughn, a juvenile delinquent in the offseason in his major league debut.
Gonna light your ass up, meat.
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed. Ball 4. Ball 8. Low, and Vaughn has walked the bases loaded on 12 straight pitches. Boy, how can these guys lay off pitches that close?
Wild thing! You make my heart sing. You walk everything.
Taylor, what are you doing back up here?
Couldn't cut it. The Mexican League.
That's your wife and my kids.
Vaughn in deep trouble here with Clu Haywood, last year's American League home run champ at the plate. Vaughn kicks, fires. Here is a swing and a drive toward left field and deep. Oh, boy.
No way. Too high.
It is gone off the reservation. A grand slam home run for Haywood.
All right. You can't go wrong with Major League. That's like another good one. It's a good one. So that's a classic. So I don't know. I watch that at least once or twice a year, right?
Yeah, that was great. That was a great movie. Definitely.
All right, so they have one more from the fans before we get into ours. One more. You want to take a guess what you think it is? I give you a hint. You want me to give you a hint?
Sure.
The scene is it's hard to find a scene in this because I'm trying to pull videos off of somewhere where I could save them. And, I didn't want to do like a 9-minute video. So I give you a hint. See if you can get it right. If you don't know this, I'm actually knowing what I know about you. I'm actually shocked this is not in your top 5.
All right.
Because all I'll say is Notre Dame.
Oh, not Rudy. It's not
Rudy.
Rudy.
How is Rudy not in your top? You're a Notre Dame fan. I don't
Big fan. Big fan.
How is Rudy not in your top 5?
Listen, I almost put Newt Rockney in there. I almost put in Remember the Gipper. I mean, those are classic Notre Dame movies too, but they didn't make my top 5.
Justin said the owner of the Indians movie was a word I can't repeat on Facebook. But yes, Tyrone says he watches Major League 3 times a year. So somehow Rudy didn't make your list. That's a little shocking, but here it is. Let's give a little clip from Rudy because, as he says, nobody goes in their house and wins.
Huddle up. Bring it in, guys. Father, everyone take a hand.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Notre Dame, our mother.
Pray for us!
You all know what you have to do. Remember, no one, and I mean no one, comes into our house and pushes us around. This is your game now, gentlemen. And for you seniors, it's your last one, so make it count. Because you'll remember it for the rest of your lives.
Now that's there was a time back then when nobody did go into Notre Dame and win games.
Yeah, that was quite a long time ago, you big guy. I mean, we've had competitive teams recently, but not on a national level. That at Alabama, Clemson, teams like that. Where at one time we were up there, when us and Michigan were like 1 and 2 in the country, and Miami was still on the rise. But yeah,
well,
it's been.
You guys don't want to do what everybody else does and give away gifts.
That's 100% true.
A few cars and some things, so people will come back to Notre Dame.
Listen, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the coaching or if it's the recruiting or if it's just the atmosphere at Notre Dame compared to other colleges. But yeah, at one time, I mean, Notre Dame had the biggest following in the country of college football.
I don't know what it is about Rudy, but every time and that was another one that was tough to leave out of my top 5. And I probably watch Rudy at least twice a year. It's when I have like this, I have these, you have certain movies you watch during certain times of the year. Like for me, at Christmas, I have Home Alone and The Ref and some other movies. Around Thanksgiving, I always watch Rudy. I don't know, just think college football, leaves falling off the tree. All the scenes in the movie is in the fall. And I don't know. I just like the winter anyway. I'm a fall winter person anyway. I don't really like the summer. But I always get teary eyed at the end of Rudy.
Yeah.
Every time it does it to me, man. It does.
And you don't want to watch my number 1 clip movie of all time because you'll cry like a baby if you watch that. That tears you up.
Well, a lot of movies do, but Rudy gets me, man. It gets me. I don't know what's wrong with Rudy. So let's review their top 5 before we get into mine and your top 5. And then, of course, we can review them all. Are there any ones, you can't go wrong with? You've seen them all except Bend It Like Beckham, right? You should watch Bend It Like Beckham.
I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out.
It's an older movie now. Now it's probably like 20 years old. But, Blue Chips, League of Their Own. League of Their Own's a classic. You go wrong with League of Their Own. And Major League. Has anyone not seen Major League?
I don't, not that I know of. Not that I know.
That's a good list. And again, I don't have videos, but like I said, honorable mentions. We had some votes for Miracle on Ice, which is a great movie. It's got that classic line, do you believe in miracles? Al Michaels, it really gets you when he says that. And you got Mighty Ducks,
Yeah.
You can go wrong with the Mighty Ducks.
No, you can't. And there's other movies that didn't make my top 5. I don't know if they're in your top 5. So, I won't say them now, maybe afterwards, but there's a few other movies that were
you
right
don't want
there.
to give mine away because you don't know what my list is yet.
Right. Because, Miracle was number 6. It was right there, so
Rudy was right there. So, there were a few, League of Their Own was right there for me. Anything with Tom Hanks, I'm in.
Yeah, great actor. Great actor.
Oh, I'm in. So one of my favorites, maybe my favorite. So Number 5, we'll start with number 5 for you. Do you know what your number 5 was?
Yes, I do.
You remember what you told me?
Yeah, I said number 5 was the Bad News Bears.
The Bad News Bears.
And there's a few reasons for that now. I mean, it's about Little League Baseball, which I coached for years through high school. It's about a coach that's a used-up ball player that's drinking, he's smoking, and, you know, his kid one of his relatives, I know it was a niece or daughter, he brings him back, and nobody wants this team. Everybody thinks this team is bad. And he to win it, he gets this little rebellious a kid that rides a motorcycle, happens to be a great ball player, and he goes through it, and the team eventually comes together, and he starts getting excited about it. They go to the championship, and he turns into, you know, this very serious baseball coach, and he's not playing everybody. I mean, there's a lot of stories going on, especially it really hits home with me with coaches, because coaching kids in youth sports is very important to the growth of them into adults, really. So that's why it's one of my favorites. It was interesting to see how he changed, and all of a sudden he realized, you know something, I am being a jerk, and everybody go play, and it was great at the end.
And Walter Matthau is a classic actor.
Unbelievable.
The best. So I got you a nice little clip here of Walter Matthau and some broken car windows just for you from the Bad News Bears. So here's a clip. We don't own these clips. I should mention that just in case, you know, the police want to knock down my door or something. You know, we borrowed them off of YouTube. So hold on.
Hey, Engelberg.
What?
There's chocolate all over this ball.
Look, Mr. Buttermaker, quit bugging me about my food. People are always bugging me about it. My shrink says that's why I'm so fat. So you're not doing me any good, so let's quit it.
Okay. All right, look alive. Let's get one. Are you ready? Let's get one out there. Engelberg,
What?
that is a bunt. B-U-N-T. The catcher is supposed to pick up the bunt and throw it to first base.
What the hell is I supposed to know? You make sure the big deal yelling after them.
Diversionary tactic, Engelberg. Now get the ball.
Why are you always picking on me? What did I do to you?
Engelberg, quit your climbing bellyache and throw the ball to first base.
The funny part about that is like I was just thinking while I was watching. I mean, I've obviously seen the movie, but I was thinking while I was watching of something you said the other day on one of the shows that they don't know how to bunt now. They didn't know what they were doing then.
That's right.
So, you know, some things just carry over and keep going.
Yeah, it's it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one of my favorite movies just because it's about Little League. So.
Yeah, so that was your number 5. So my number 5, which almost made it by the fans too, it was just on the outside of the 5. You've seen Remember the Titans?
Oh, yeah.
It's not a long clip, but it gets me pumped up when I see this clip. When I watched it today, I was like, I'm going to watch the movie because I'm such a Denzel Washington fan. I got one. So good clip from Remember the Titans is my number 5. I give you a short clip. Hopefully people are listening somewhere in the car getting pumped up. Like, I got to run these videos tomorrow. You know, you never know what's going on. So here we go.
Defense on me.
Okay, Petey, don't you drift to the strong side.
Coach, they're calling a holding penalty on me every time.
Did I ask for your excuses? You want to act like a star? You better give me a star effort. Do you hear me?
Forget about him. Alan, you're in. Come on.
All right. Now, I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night. And if they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm going to take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans. Leave no doubt.
I'm all pumped up. I'm like, my skin is boiling just listening to him. I love when an actor can deliver a line and just get you pumped up, like in their voice and everything. That's what I'm talking about. I'm all fired up now. I'm ready to go.
Awesome.
I'm ready to go play football until I run 10 steps and realize I'm out of shape, and then I'm ready to sit back down.
There you go. There you go.
Do what you could do. So one thing I noticed about mine in your list is I feel like most of mine were like late 80s and above, and some of yours were before the 80s.
Yeah.
Which explains the 10-year difference.
Definitely.
Number 4 You picked a classic. Can't go wrong with it. I hope I got a good clip for you. So this is a solid number 4, and it speaks to your love of of boxing. So
Yes,
number 4, you took Rocky, the original. Rocky.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So I got a little clip here for you. Little Mr. This little. He didn't even win the first fight, but whatever. The tomato. So here we go.
Oh, the champion really tagged him. And Apollo clearly protecting his right side, his ribs. Body punches. Hard, left and right. Oh, look at the blood coming out. Oh, he's spitting out blood now. Oh, he touched it. Watch out, he's over there. A tremendous right hand by Rocky. Listen to this crowd. There's the ribs. Oh, another to the rib. That left hand again. That left hand right to the chin. Oh, he's got him up against the rope. Apollo, the champion.
Ain't gonna be no rematch. Ain't gonna be no rematch.
Don't want one.
He technically lied because they were a match. I'm still to this day upset they killed off Apollo.
The best part of the movie was him getting that lottery shot. To a ham and egg fighter that was just average to below average, and here they are. They're saying, "Hey, we're going to give you a shot at the heavyweight champion," and all the intertwined stories in there. The boxing match was good, but the story behind it was even better.
Absolutely. I don't know. Everyone's got to love Rocky, right? Who doesn't love Rocky? I've met someone actually once in my lifetime who told me Rocky was terrible. All of them.
Yeah.
I think he was just a troll, though. So, it happens. It happens. So I'm just going through these clips, so then we could just discuss the movies and stuff, down the stretch while I'm waiting to see if, we get any breaking news from these buffoons at the baseball union. Because, it's just, always got to vote on everything. If we voted on everything, we'd never be anywhere.
That's the truth.
We would just be hanging out. So, so my number 4, I realized 3 of my 5 are baseball. So that's got to say something. So you want to take a guess what number 4 is? Well, I gave you a hint. Baseball.
Baseball. The Natural?
No. But, that's a good guess. It's a good guess. Let's go with the number 4 movie on our top 5 list of sports movies.
All right. This is fascinating. It is. But the fact remains is that you don't have the money to bring the mortgage up to date, so you're still going to have to sell it. I'm sorry, Ray. We got no choice.
Ray, people will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have and peace they like.
Ray, just sign the papers.
And they'll walk out to the bleachers. Sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines. Where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game. And it'll be as if they'd dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick they'll have to brush them away from their faces.
Ray, when the bank opens in the morning, they'll foreclose.
People will come, Ray.
You're broke, Ray. You sell now or you lose everything.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers.
I kind of feel like they should play that Field of Dreams clip for the morons playing baseball today.
Yeah. And have Earl Jones talk about it, too, and let him be the speaker.
Amazing. Can he speak or what? Because he's just got that voice. Well, he's Darth Vader,
Oh, my God. I mean, if that dude says something, you believe it. You know what I mean?
And it's just like, what? I don't know. How'd this movie not make your top 5? You have a love for for old baseball, that what better than Field of Dreams?
Great movie.
Was it even in the running?
Yeah, of course. It was number 7.
Kevin Costner is one of my top 5 favorite actors of all time. So, I mean, anything with him in it. He's in so many baseball. But, that's the thing. They touch base on that. They say, constant. I don't think any of the baseball players today understand how constant baseball's always been. And now they look like a bunch of buffoons.
Oh, man, it's gone so far by the wayside. It's so far from what it used to be.
Everything in life, Mac. Money ruins everything.
And it's crazy. It's crazy how it's gone so far south.
Money. Never saw that one. Justin, you've never seen Field of Dreams? I'm going to need a response on this. Well, think about if you saw Field of Dreams while I let Mac handle the last 30 and 30 of the day.
The Big Guy Sports 30 and 30 Sports Flash.
Hey, the Big Guys Sports Update again for you. Again, we're waiting on Major League Baseball news. Both owners and players are still trying to work out the number of games to play if the season starts. The union is and was expected to vote on it today. We'll see what happens. In the MMA news, again, the controversy surrounding a fighter that wanted to give up. He told his corner 9 times he couldn't fight on ESPN, and there's actual audio of this. And his corner telling him to keep pushing on, so he put on his own. Safety Jamal Adams from the Jets again. He's complaining about his situation with the Jets. He wants to be traded. They're not going to renegotiate his contract. Kyle Hadala, he sucker punched tight end of the Eagles, Dallas Goedert, and I guess I don't know if he knocked him out, if he went to the hospital. I don't know. But anyway, and in boxing, I'm put a little boxing heading in here for you. The Tyson Fury champion, they're going to try and make him maybe a franchise champion, which would let him skip his mandatory defense of the number 1 contender Dylan White and be able to fight Wilder. Then Anthony Joshua to try to unify the championship divisions. So that's the Big Guy Sports Flash Update brought to you by the Big Guy Sports Facebook page. Mandatory defense of the number 1 contender, Dylan White, and be able to fight Wilder. We got Joshua. We got a little bit of feedback going in there, Big Guy.
Sorry about that. I was actually, and this is the great thing about live.
So that's
about live
Sports Flash
about live radio here. So I was running. I can't run these clips anymore.
Okay.
I have to stop because Facebook just took my videos down.
No way.
2 emails as we're speaking, and I wasn't paying attention to them. And I basically went and looked that basically said that my videos are in violation of some kind of rights or something to run a clip. Right. So they kind of took it down. So I just put it back up. Hopefully it works. I told them I won't run any more clips. So I guess for some reason you can't, you can't run clips, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
breaking the law.
Geez, I mean, no running clips anymore. I mean, so I was looking at I was submitting a dispute, and in submitting the dispute, you heard the echo of the video in the background, but that's insane. How are they going to block my videos? I mean, I can't run a clip of no crying in baseball. Boy, they're on top of things these days, Facebook. To be honest with
you, you can't make a comment on a post anymore without them all over you. So I mean,
police this got to be an algorithm or something, because there's no way someone's sitting there and looking at everybody's stuff.
Oh, I believe there are. The police out there, they know everything about you, what you're doing, what you're buying, everything. I mean,
my Lord. No one gets no more clips. Holy crap. Next time we want to do movie clips, we're going to have to recreate the scene.
Yes, sir.
I can't believe it. I mean,
never by Kevin Costner.
I don't even understand how they could block my videos. Have they seen some of the stuff people are posting on videos? I see videos of people beating the crap out of each other and putting people in comas. They let that go? But I can't play Tom Hanks yelling at a woman?
Hey, listen, forget about Kevin Costner. You are going to be the new star. We're going to pump you up. We'll have you live. We'll send you out. It'll go viral.
I can use movie star money. I'm okay with that.
Hey, listen.
All right, so we'll just go through it then. So far I had at 5, Remember the Titans, at 4, Field of Dreams, at 5, you had Bad News Bears, and at 4, you had the original Rocky.
Right.
At 3, you had Hoosiers.
Yes, sir.
With Gene Hackman, which I'm sad to say I've never seen all the way through. At 3, I did another baseball movie. I loved Moneyball with Brad Pitt.
Did you?
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I wasn't that interested.
I loved it. It's a true story about Oakland.
I kind of fell asleep in halfway through that. I don't know.
Oh my God. I own that movie. All right. So number 2, we both had Rocky movies, but different movies. You had Rocky Balboa, which I assume was the remake. I didn't get that wrong.
No.
Which one's Rocky Balboa?
Rocky Balboa is actually his last movie where now, I don't know if you remember way back when they put up a video of Rocky Marciano versus Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, the one with the Rocky Balboa's one with his son, full age, right?
No, but Rocky actually boxes the heavyweight champion.
Yeah,
and he has
what's his face? What's the guy's name? Who was a real boxer?
Yeah, but I mean, the son is primarily one of the primary stars of the show, and it shows a relationship between him and his son. And I think this was the best acting job and the best format that Sylvester Stallone ever put a movie in. I was really impressed.
I saw it and I liked it. The only problem I had with it is at that time he was fighting someone who was a real boxing champion, and he's too old. He looked too old. Like, I don't know. For me, it's hard to believe that a 60-something-year-old guy will go in there and beat a 30-something-year-old champ.
Yeah.
So, or even stand toe-to-toe with him, especially when we've had talks about how hard it was going to be for, Mike Tyson to do it.
Yeah.
So my number 2 was also Rocky, but it was my favorite Rocky, which is the only reason it's the only Rocky in here. And my favorite Rocky was Rocky 4 with the Russians when Apollo gets killed and he goes over to Russia. I just love it. It also not only is it my favorite Rocky. I like all the Rocky films, so I don't want to take anything away. The only Rocky film I didn't like was, I'm not as, if I had to take one out, I didn't like when Tommy, what was his name? He was a professional boxer. That wasn't my favorite. Right. But the first 4 Rockies I love, but the Russian one's my favorite. Also because it's one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in a movie. The soundtrack is phenomenal. I thought
that was probably one of the worst Rocky movies ever, especially the speech at the end when he says, I love you, you love me. Why can't we live together? That's not his strongest.
I'll give you an interesting thing about this. Rocky 4, because, you can find anything on the internet, is considered by most fans of the series as the most popular of all of them. Believe it or not.
They must have not seen the original.
No, they all have. It's just a great soundtrack. And it also kind of talked to the younger people at that time. You got to remember the original Rocky a long time ago. So some people didn't get into the Rocky series until 4.
Yeah.
And the graphics were better and a little bit more, so whatever. So Rocky 4. So then we're down to number 1. Number 1 for both of us. Now, your number 1 is a movie I've never seen, Brian's Song. So tell me a little about Brian's Song because I don't know anything about it.
Well, if you really want to see a real heart-tugging movie and with great players, it's about Brian Piccolo, who was a running back for the Bears, and he played behind the great Gale Sayers at the time. And Sayers gets hurt. He messes up his leg, and I think it was in the game against San Francisco. And Brian Piccolo, being his friends, they were roommates, and they became good friends, Piccolo being white and Sayers being black. And he helped him. He inspired him to make a comeback because Piccolo started playing for the Bears and was really running the ball very well. So when Sayers came back, they became a 2-man backfield where Piccolo, who was light, was the fullback, and Sayers was a running back, and Piccolo started losing a lot of weight, and he developed cancer. And it shows the how much Gale Sayers loved Brian Piccolo. And, of course, the music is sappy, and, of course, Brian Piccolo dies, and Sayers makes a speech, the guy playing Gale Sayers, I should say. And, man, this made me cry. I didn't even cry when Old Yeller got killed. I mean, I got no heart when it comes to stuff like that. But this movie, it really touched me. It was outstanding.
Gotcha. Okay. No problem. Maybe have to check that out. My number 1 is baseball again. And I go back to Kevin Costner. It's a shame I can't play the clip, but my number one is Bull Durham, which I just absolutely love. And I had a great clip, and it saddens me that I can't play that clip. They're basically, just to describe it, there's a clip where Kevin Costner's behind the plate, and I'm sure you've seen the movie, and he says to the catcher, the pitcher keeps shaking off Kevin Costner. It's like, he doesn't want him to throw a fastball. So he goes out there and he says to him, why you keep shaking me off? And he says, I want to throw the heat. And he says, I don't want you to throw a fastball. This guy's a fastball hitter. He says, but he says he ain't seen my heat. And he's like, all right, meat. So he goes back to the plate. And he tells the catcher, he says he's going to throw a fastball. So he tells the guy, and the guy tees off on the ball. What cracks me up is when he tees off on the ball, just because it sounded authentic. He hit the bull. And Kevin Costner's walking out to the mound laughing. He's like, oh, he hit the bull. He gets a free steak. And it just cracks me up every time I see it. So I would have loved to run that clip, but maybe someone reported the clips and said, look, they're using the clip. I don't know. They're lying. Maybe the director saw it. Who knows? So anyway, number one would be Bull Durham for me. You can't go wrong with these lists. I mean, there's just so many good ones.
Yeah, there is.
There's another movie I had on my list, and I threw out the list that I didn't, use. It was a football movie with Al Pacino, Lawrence Taylor, Jamie Foxx that I love.
Any Given Sunday.
That's a great one. Yeah. That's a great one. So a lot of good movies, many that you could choose from, many that didn't even make the list.
Hey, there's one.
Go ahead.
There's one that's really cool. It's called Blind Side. It's about, I love stories about family.
Sandra Bullock. Yeah, I've seen it. That was on my list. Yeah, that's real life about Michael Otter from, I think his name's Otter or something, but he was from Baltimore and went somewhere else. So yeah, that's another great one as well. There's just so many you can't go. And Sandra Bullock don't hurt either. So anyway, I got some other news for you though. Now that we've finished our football list, so the Giants have finally moved on from the last person they had on their staff from the Super Bowl, and the Giants have today. This happened. The Giants have let go David Tyree. Everybody knows who David Tyree is. He's caught that amazing catch that everybody knows about, from the Super Bowl when they beat New England the first time. He had spent the last 6 years as the Giants director of player engagement. They've decided to let him go today, and they've signed Lonnie Lawrence as the Giants director of wellness and clinical services. It's a new created role. She'll also, he or she, it doesn't say, will also serve as the head of player engagement development. So they let Tyree go after 6 years. So they've officially now clean shop. But if you want to support David Tyree, him and his wife own a juice shop in Morristown, New Jersey called Clean Juice. So you can go to your juice bar and,
Yeah. That's a hero on the field. There's been a lot of heroes on the field that went up into management and haven't been successful. And it's too bad. It's too bad that he had to be let go. Maybe it has something to do with the troubles the Giants players have been getting in lately. So.
No, it's probably just, new staff, time to go. David Tyree wasn't in any trouble, but, you bring in new people and, I guess they're trying to save money too, because football, even football has to start to think ahead of, what are we going to do this year without fans? Football is one of those sports that no matter how bad the teams are, they usually sell out every game. And they may be down at the stretch people don't go and watch the game in person when their team stinks, but they've sold it out already. So football is going to lose a lot of money as well.
Yeah,
the only thing in football is they have a cap. So they pay so much to the players.
Not only that, they got an unbelievable TV contract, dude. That's billions of dollars.
Oh, yeah. Great TV deal. Tyrone on Facebook mentioned Any Given Sunday is a classic. Bad News Bears. Michael Oher is a possible Hall of Famer. Yeah, good career. That brings me to, we have a few minutes here, and I wanted to bring this up. I didn't get a chance to bring this up before about basketball, but if you've been paying attention to the news, Florida has blown up as a corona hotspot. They decided to open everything really fast, not take any precautions, just throw caution to the wind, and now Florida has blown up. There's 3 days in a row they've set records with coronavirus cases. Now people can say, oh, it's due to more testing, whatever, yada, yada, whatever the reason may be. they still are breaking records with the testing. So now the players are having second thoughts in the NBA about maybe that's not such a good idea to go to the Disney hub and be bubbled over there. So what do you think about that? I mean, I don't know. I brought this up I've been bringing this up from multiple shows that there's a part of me, and I hate to say it because, no sports, like I said, we're going to have to beg Facebook to let us run some clips. But, I've been saying that a part of me deep down inside just gets this, I have this eerie feeling that until there's a vaccine, and I don't know when that's going to be, and I'm not in a position to debate it, but until there's a vaccine, a part of me just thinks for some reason that all sports are going to eventually be canceled.
Well, they had I just read something about that too, where the League of Governors, they voted 27-1. I'm not exactly, it might be 29-1, that they were going to go ahead and play anyway. They say that the move, what they're doing right now is big. It's bigger than to play basketball and to take too much concern about the virus down there right now. It's the commissioners behind it. The teams are behind it. I think Portland was the only team that voted against it because they thought it could be a different format, maybe better done. And I just read that before I came on. So basketball is going to go through with it. They're not stopping. They're going to continue. They're going to continue on this ready to play thing and shooting for the same dates they had before.
But now it seems like they might be second guessing that though. So there might be a turn of events here. They might not,
Well, it could be. And, I always said, big guy, on all the shows we've been doing, the biggest concern for me in basketball and in hockey is to have everybody within a closed area. And if an infection hits it, like anything else, that's when a lot of people are going to get infected at once. Outside, at least you have a chance where the virus is taken up into the air somewhat, and you're not closed in, you're not living with people, you're not sleeping on top of each other. I mean, I heard horror stories about people on submarines when they get the flu. I mean, because they're living in cots together,
right? And there's nowhere for it to go.
The whole crew gets sick, and so I mean, I don't know if it's a good idea to have them all in one area living together and not letting anybody else in, which I can understand to a point. But, I mean, again, the nursing homes were the highest rated people that died, 80%, because they were all living together, closed in.
Well, let me put it this way. Like, the one positive thing you see right now is, and even today, there have been 5 games played already. Soccer's playing.
Yeah.
They're playing right now. Ronaldo's out there playing, one of the popular guys. Soccer's playing. So it shows you that sports can be played. NASCAR is playing. Now, NASCAR is a little different because they're in their own cars, and whatever. So they're playing. So that gives you hope. But I'm just saying, I don't know. I get this, like, you've seen young people die from this. And I just get this eerie feeling if a player gets sick and dies before any of these leagues start, none of them are playing.
Well, hey, listen, there are people that have died playing football. I mean, an actual person died. They still
I understand. I just think that this is to a new level. I just think that they're already scared. I mean, you look at it. I mean, if they weren't scared, basketball players wouldn't be having this conversation about maybe it's not smart to be in Orlando.
Yeah. I mean, I do understand that, but I'm just saying, big guy, listen, we're going back to work. We're going to put in the hours. We're out there. We have a chance to get the corona too. Us little peons that are kind of doing our job. I mean, listen, if we can do it, there's no reason why football can't play.
I agree. I've made that argument the whole time. We'll see what happens. I mean,
hey, listen, boxing's going on. MMA's going on. There are sports going on right now. It may not be the big top 4, but there are sports going on. And I guarantee you one thing, NFL, I can almost 99% guarantee NFL's playing this year.
Well, I hope so. I hope by the time the NFL plays, they got some kind of vaccine. I don't care. I understand the whole vaccine process and that, they're like, well, we're going to give someone a vaccine. We don't know how it's going to react to someone 2 years from now. Well, it's just I guess a chance you got to take.
Sure.
I don't know what to really tell you, so, but there's a lot of things being, discussed and considered now. And I think the NBA players have the right to be a little bit concerned. I mean, especially with all the cases you're seeing in Florida right now.
Sure. I mean, concerned is one thing. You should be concerned going to work as an average guy too. You should be concerned, but we got to make livings. So I mean, I don't know. I don't see why there's a big difference between me going to work and some other professional athlete going to work.
Right. Well, We're down to the last 10 minutes here, so I wanted to give you a few minutes before I can. I wanted to touch base, but we'll do this tomorrow. I wanted to touch base on your thoughts about the NASCAR and the noose being hung, but I will do that tomorrow because I don't want to make it feel rushed. And if I brought it up now, we'd have to rush it into a 2-minute segment, and I don't want to do that. So we'll touch base on that tomorrow. But tomorrow we have a guest, so why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who's coming on and what they can expect?
Yeah, guys, we have probably the most influential writer in the last 25 years in boxing. He was a former president of the National Boxing Writers Association. He's wrote for different publications, in editor for Ring Sports, East Coast magazines. He has his own little, he has his online thing he writes for right now. That's a very popular site. He was inducted into the New York State Boxing Hall of Fame. He's as a boxer, he was a multiple Golden Gloves participant. He sparred with Vito Interfermo, a middleweight champion, when he first came into boxing. Some of his articles I'll go through real quick, big guy, just in case people want to check him out. He wrote a 3-part series on the rise and fall of Golden Gloves, how Donald Trump ruled boxing for a short time. He also brought up how maybe the postponement of the Wilder Fury fight might have helped Wilder, and of course that makes sense. So he's given out awards as the president of the Writers Association, as they do every year. We'll have him on there. He's supposed to be from the people I've talked to.
What's his name? Mr. Hish, right? Is his name? Look him up.
Jack Hirsch. Jack Hirsch. JACKHIRSH. And I talked to a couple boxers, and they really hold him in high regard. So good man, very knowledgeable. He'll be a great guest.
So he's coming on tomorrow at the top of the hour, right? 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock, sir. Yes,
he's going to give us some time, so we'll have some nice interview and some discussion about boxing tomorrow. We'll definitely tomorrow cover the thing with the NASCAR and the flag, and then I have some thoughts on that and what, and today, how they kind of march together. I have some more thoughts on that. We'll have a decision on baseball tomorrow.
Should be.
I mean, I don't understand how many times can you go back and forth and say, well, you go now, you think about it. Now you think about it. Now, according to what I read, I mean, the vote should be coming out any minute now. We should have some information for it tomorrow, and we could dig deep into it. According to basically, they're either going to agree to the 60 games, or Manfred is just going to pick the amount of games. But either way you look at it, there should be a baseball season.
Okay.
I think he already did. I mean, technically, to me, it's like, well, didn't he already pick the amount of games? He said 60. So that's why I don't understand the vote. He already did. He said 60.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Why would you say no and then give him a chance to come back and say, well, okay, since I get to mandate it, here's 40. Now you just lost 20 games of pay. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. The only thing I could possibly see them voting on is if they want to say, we don't feel it's safe, we're not playing this year. Okay. That's it.
I don't know. Well, listen, I don't think that's in the contract either. I mean, there's no written thing in the contract about a virus. I mean,
but I mean, just like with the NBA, I'd assume, as we mentioned last week, the NBA announced that any player who does not feel safe playing does not need to play. They're not going to be penalized. If they want to stay home for the year and not get paid, they can do that and come back next year.
Do you see where this leaves out for a lot of stars that are still going to in fact, I don't even know the terms of the contract, whether something like this, they still get paid or they have to play.
Right, I don't see how you could force a baseball player to come play if he doesn't feel safe for his family.
That's what I'm saying. So if these average ball players or rookie ball players are playing in a minimum contract, I guarantee you there is no guaranteed money for these guys. So those are the ones that if they say we're going to play, they're going to play. I mean, they got to make money. Mm-hmm. These other guys, I don't know. I don't know the terms of their contracts.
Well, that's from my understanding is that they're not going to force anybody in any sport to play who doesn't feel comfortable, nor should they. Because I think you get a murky thing there. I think if you force someone to play, like let's just think outside the box for a minute, all right? If you have a few minutes here. If you force a player in any sport to play, and that player has a kid at home that maybe doesn't have a great immune system, and he gets sick and takes that home and his kid dies, he's going to sue the crap out of the league. And I don't think you can force anybody to play. If they don't want to play, don't let them play. I mean, listen, you want sports, okay, but you can't be picky about who's going to play. They'll play if you feel safe.
But on the other hand, now suppose he gets the flu, the common flu for somebody. His kid has a bad immune system, and he picks it up at the grocery store and brings it home, and his son dies.
You're gonna have to.
Does he sue the grocery store for that?
I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for everybody. I know that, I know in my discussions with my job and my wife's discussions with her job, we were both kind of told the same thing, that listen, if you're in a position where you're a caregiver, or you're in a position where you live with somebody who has bad immune system or has bad lungs, when we open back up, you will be given the option, if you can show notice that says, hey, this person I'm with has this, then you can work from home. I mean, it is what it is.
I guess it's different.
Well, why would the owners care, though? Look at it from an owner's standpoint of baseball. Okay, if Mike Trout wants to sit home, I don't have to pay him $30 million this year.
But is that in his contract? I mean, is this?
This is a totally different thing, though. But that's what I'm saying. What I'm simply saying is that maybe that's what's being voted on, because they already know, the players already know that he has the official mandate to choose the games as long as he pays them 100%. They've already tried to counter with 70. He said it was 60 or nothing. So the 60 is not on a table. He can even make it less. But the other stuff is still being voted on and talked about. Because don't forget, the owners are telling them, we want you to also agree that you can't sue us.
Right.
So no legal. Maybe that's what they're voting on. Maybe the players are voting on, one, do we want to make it to where we can't sue? And number two, maybe they want to make sure, because they're voting also on the health rules. They're voting on the health rules. That's not been finalized yet, on how many times you got to throw out the baseball and how far. That's not finalized. So maybe that's what they're voting on. Maybe the players are going to come back and say, listen, we'll agree, but whoever doesn't want to play doesn't have to play.
So the majority of the union members have got to be the average ball players. If that's part of the contract, do you think they would vote with something like that? I mean, would they say, okay, it's okay for DeGrom to stay home, but me being the second base utility player, I got to go out there and risk my life?
I think it's players' choice.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the choice would be for DeGrom if it makes any sense. He would stay home if he's still making money.
Not if he feels safe. I mean, some people are gamers. I mean, NBA has already said that any player that doesn't feel safe doesn't have to play. LeBron James, arguably the face of the NBA, has said, I'm playing. He doesn't have to play. He's got plenty of money. But he wants to go chase the title. The competitor in him wants to chase the title. So it might be that way with baseball too. I mean, I'm just saying, you got to give the guys the choice. If you have a chance, nobody wants to be the guinea pigs.
True, I guess. But we don't get a choice, Jim.
Well, we would have a choice if we were rich. Because if we were rich, we could just say, screw it, I quit. So, we're just not rich, so we can't say that. But that technically is not the case, because like I had said, some jobs, including mine and the missus, have been told we could stay and work from home if that's where we feel comfortable.
Yeah, but that's not a majority, Jim. That's not a majority.
No. I mean, I understand. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, the cases started rising. You had states open up too fast. You had protesting that the cases rise. I mean, people forget and throw it out, and there it goes. But we're down to 2 minutes, so let me finish up here and wrap up, because we have to make sure we finish on time. I want to give a big shout out to my partners in crime, Mac and Matt, Matt will now be on weekends instead of weekdays because of the new hours. So he'll be on both weekend shows. Mac, myself, and Matt are tirelessly working behind the scenes to constantly improve the product and bring it to a new level. So I want to thank them, as we are all working hard behind the scenes. I want to give a big shout out to Worldwide Sports Radio Network, who we started with today, partnering up with them to reach more ears and bring a better product. And I want to apologize for playing copyrighted videos. I didn't realize the Facebook police are out in full force. I've seen people getting stabbed on Facebook in the last week, and those videos weren't canceled. So I don't know how playing a league of their own video got me canceled, but we'll, I guess, have to stay away from that. Coming up next, if you're listening through on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, is Down to the Wire with Errol Marks and his co-host Speedy Pete. They will be coming up next on the Worldwide Sports Network. As for us, we are done today. We'll put out an advertisement tomorrow morning, let you know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about NASCAR, baseball, and any other breaking news that comes out.
And boxing.
Oh, and we got our boxing host. I won't forget about that as well. So thank you for all tuning in. Sorry about the technical difficulties with Facebook. We appreciate you guys. Justin, Tyrone, James Harrison will answer that Eli question tomorrow from 4 to 6. You guys have a good night. We're out.
Thank you, guys.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.